Hello, welcome to another edition of Extra Connection Special. I am James Lott Jr. and I emphasize special because I have a special person on my show today. I'm so excited. He actually worked on the soaps in the PR departments of As the World Turns and Guiding Light, but he is doing something that I'm doing. We're interviewing all kinds of celebrities from today and yesteryear, from shows that you love to shows you love now. And I just admire him so much, and I'm bringing him on. It's called The Locker Room. He's like me. We take our last name and use it for stuff. It kind of works. But I'm very happy to have him on the show, Alan Locher. Hi, Alan.
Hi, James. Thanks so much for having me.
So I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to say this on camera. I want everybody to sit down, relax, get a drink. I'm going to say this. Number one, you're an inspiration to me because I've heard of your name before in soap world. I've been around the soap world for years. I've been around for like 13, 14 years. I've heard your name. But when you start doing your interviews, I didn't know you were doing them at first. And I started doing my interviews because I'm going to ask you why you started all that in a second. But people were coming to me and sending me little DMs like, this Alan Locher guy is like, he got somebody that you wanted to get. And so over here, and it was like talking, like whispering, like it was very soapy. It was very soapy. And I was like, well, let me check him out. And as you know, I've been commenting, I love what you're doing. So I just want to say thank you for your service to our community and that you're putting out such great content with great people. And for me, you're an inspiration to me.
Oh, well, thanks so much. Your show helped me prep my Crystal Chappelle show. So, what goes around comes around.
I'm glad I could help. But
you definitely did.
But here's the thing, Alan, because in this business, they like to pit people against each other. And people were saying things, so I'm like, no, there's enough soap stars to go around.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of stuff out there for us to do, and we're two different people. And I said, for me, I admire, you're actually inspiring me to get out there and continue doing it. So I said, for me, there's no competition, there's no nothing. He's a great guy. I've now been recognized one of your top fans on Facebook.
Yeah. I love that.
I love it. So I am. So what made you start this kind of, was it the quarantine thing? I mean, I'm just curious how you decided to do all these interviews.
It was a combination. I mean, it was definitely the quarantine. I was working for On Location Tours, which is a TV and movie tour company based in New York City. And I lost my job. Tourism was one of the first things to go. So I was sitting here. My last day of work was March 20th. April 1st came around, and it was the day before As the World Turns' television anniversary. And I spent some time on Instagram and was noticing friends, celebrities doing all of the one-on-one Instagram lives. And I was thinking, maybe I should start reaching out to friends and doing one-on-one interviews. And the first person I called was Michael Park, and he loved it. He was going to do it with me on April 2nd. But then because of his connection to Dear Evan Hansen, his Dear Evan Hansen cast had just done a live stream with more than one person. And so he suggested, let me find out what the platform is. And that really is what happened. That's what turned it into The Locker Room.
So you really started going like, you sound like me. I was like, I'll call a few of my friends and see what's going on in the business and like do an interview. We're all sitting at home. So I was like, what are we doing? So, but you, even more so than me, I do some group interviews, but you're like seriously doing groups of people. And God bless Zoom. I mean, who knew?
Yeah, I'm not using Zoom, but yes, which I'd love to learn more about from you. But yeah, it's Streamyard, which is the same type of platform.
Oh, okay.
And so it airs live on YouTube, as soon as we are doing it live, and then it remains up there. It was really, it was knowing that April 2nd was the next day, and just knowing also that the shows have been off the air for 10 years, the shows that I worked on, and that people, I know my connection as a young kid who grew up watching them, they are family. And right now there's a lot of daytime fans who are disconnected from their family. And I just thought it would, cheer some people up. And it's done more than I expected it to do. And that's why I continue to keep trying to, it's really the fans asking me to do more because the minute you do one, They were like, "Hey, I have a list. Can you do?"
Yes, I know. Well, I know. I do know that. No, and you're amazing. I mean, I'm keep gushing on you because you are just really amazing. And the thing is, it's funny because I started the whole thing too, kind of like, well, people are at home. The soaps are running out. The current soaps are running out.
Yeah.
Except for Days Are Alive.
Is that why you started? Due to the corona?
Yeah, I did. It was completely. Yeah, interview me too. I love it. I love other host. But no, yeah, I said I stopped. Well, Hollywood shut down like March 17th, March 18th, around the same time you said your thing. We shut down, so it was like I can't do nothing. I'm at AfterBuzz TV, that shut down in the studio and all those certain things. I was like, okay, well, I'm home. I have all this equipment. I have ring lights. I got cameras, everything. And someone said Zoom. Someone said, go on Zoom. And I go, that meeting thing for business? And they're like, yeah, I think it's like everybody's doing it. And I'll tell you all about it afterwards. I'll tell you stuff. But I said, okay, I'll go on Zoom. And I'll try one. I'll call a few people. I think I was like, called Michelle Stafford or my girl, whatever. And I was like, who can come on? And so I said, I'm going to do this for people who have anxiety, who are nervous, who are worried about the virus. I want to give them something else. And I also felt like, you just hit a head on a nail, so people are like family because they're on every day. Mm-hmm. So when you don't have that really, you're missing family. And so I thought, well, if I can give a couple of interviews a week, 2 or 3 or 4, a week of people that they like, past and present, then I'll do it that way. And that's how I started.
Well, and like you said, from March 20th being my last day of work to starting the show, I was watching the news almost every hour of every day. Yeah. And as much as I needed the distraction, the people who are at home needed to turn off the TV for a little while as well and smile, Well,
you also bring up something too. It's actually doing more for me too. I really decide I'll do a few interviews here and there, and I'm busy every day. I'm like, I think I've done over.
I hear you.
I mean, you know how it is. Like, I think I've done over 60 interviews in the last 2 months. Like, I'm just seriously and I interview for a living, but not at this rate normally. But then I'm getting people going, well, I want to come on your show. Or you had so-and-so. Can you get so-and-so on the show? Like, it's like, you're right. The fans are telling me what to do. And I'm like, sure, why not? And I do work with the PR people at Bold and Beautiful and Young and the Restless. So I work with them also. So they're sending me people also at the same time. But you're right. I just started out, I thought I'll do a few interviews here and there and kind of see what happens. And now literally I have a schedule. Like, how that happen? Like,
I know. People are, expecting, now every Wednesday and Friday a guiding light and an As the World Turns, and I'm trying to keep up with it, but at times it's it's going to be tough too. Just getting in touch with everybody.
I was going to ask you about that because I know for me, booking guests is always, no matter what time of this is, and it's always a tough thing. Get people's schedules together and when they'll be available, and if they get back to you at a certain time, and will they get back to you? And it's like, so I'm sure. When you do the multiple ones, it must be just crazy talk, trying to get them all scheduled.
Lucky my background is PR, so I've dealt with actors and talent for 25 years or something, so it's a long time. So I sort of understand what it takes to make it happen, and also to be flexible. I don't know, I did my friend Kathy Lee Gifford on Friday because she was available. I would have liked to have promoted it, and but I'm just thankful that I can get them and then share it.
Smart man. No, I've had a few of those where like, I'm available tomorrow at 3. Okay, fine. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'll figure it out and we will get out there and it's fine because it's a name. I'll take it. You're great. I know it'll be a great interview. So I understand what you're saying. Because Kathy Lee, when I was like, oh, we're doing Kathy Lee, and I watched it. I was like, oh. But it's just like, you get it. You do it. You just do it. But also for you, it must be because you did work on those particular soaps back in the day. It must be nice for you too to be reunited with them.
Oh, totally. And when I did this and started thinking about it, I was thinking of the fans. But let's be realistic. We are all fan, actor, the people who work behind the scenes on the show, my friends in the production teams. We're all in the same boat. So as much as I was thinking that the fans were going to enjoy it, I'm enjoying seeing my friends. The actors are enjoying seeing each other. The people who used to work on the show are enjoying seeing their it's all a family, no matter what element you're in. Fan, cast, crew, everybody used to work together. So we're all stuck in that same boat. So seeing people, it's just really about connecting right now because we're not able to do it in person.
Yeah, and one of the big surprising things for me, I'm pleasantly surprised, is how they love seeing each other.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, I think the notes that I've received afterwards about that fact, and the fans responding. I mean, that was the reason I did it, and I'm thrilled that it's done something to help right now. I mean, I can't go out and help because I'm sort of immunosuppressant for some medication I take, so I can't really go out on the front lines and do something where I would like to. This is doing another, happy thing.
Yeah. How is it you went from, so you were back in PR, getting people ready, setting up for interviews, to being an interviewer. So what is it like being an interviewer for you?
I think all of that experience has helped me, from coaching young actors when they join the show to, coming right out of college and working on Regis and Kathy Lee and watching them in action, and then watching other talk show hosts when I would take, Kim Zimmer or Robert Newman or somebody to a talk show, and it's sort of that, you take it all in, you observe because you're interested, and I really do think it's to some degree helped me a lot, because I mean, just like watching your thing, I mean, it's watching your show with Crystal, it's trying to find and be prepared for your interviews.
Yes, I'm glad you said it. I'm be a little shady for a second.
Okay.
People think they can be interviewers, and people think they can be hosts, and it's not as easy as people think it is.
No.
I think I just, well, give me a microphone and give me a few notes and I'll be good to go. An interview, it's not. And you're good. I was going to tell you you're good. And
thank you. Appreciate
this is what
that.
I do for a living. This is what I interview for a living. Not saying I'm the best thing on sliced bread, but I feel like I'm a good interviewer. I think I am. And I feel
the most important thing is paying attention too, I think.
Being present.
And sometimes, correct. And I think because you are taping yours, correct?
Yes.
And I'm live, that's the distraction for me. I am paying attention, but I'm trying to see what the fans are saying too. And it's hard. I mean, you think about a Jimmy Kimmel, a Jimmy Fallon, Regis and Kathy Lee, there were teams of people helping put on what we're doing. You and me are one person.
Now,
you're booking, I'm booking. You're researching, I'm researching, you're hosting, you're publicizing, you're doing, it's a intensive amount of work.
I'll share some with you because I normally do live. That's all I do at AfterBuzz. That's all I do is we do live television, live web all the time. And actually switching to record it was a little hard for me because I'm used to the timer. I'm used to the notes in the booth. You're right. I have camera. I know where the cameras are. My guest is here. I know what to do. And so for some reason, being live doesn't bother me. I love live. I can do it in my sleep. I've been doing it for so many years. But when I start recording, I guess because it felt like I'm just recording this, I can just cut out wherever I want. And I almost got almost was like, James, don't get lazy. Like, don't get lazy. Still have that live element in your mind that you want this to be a smooth interview. So it actually took me a little bit the opposite, doing record it. To get used to it.
Interesting.
Get used to it. Because I love live. Give me 5 minutes, I can switch around. So I remember once I did an interview, I won't say the actress's name, but it was an interview where the publicist was sitting on the couch at AfterBuzz, and I wasn't going to say their age. I would never say a woman's age ever. But she played a matriarch in a movie. So I was going to say, just like, so you're playing a matriarch. I asked a question to listen to that. And as I was about to ask the question, I get like this silent text from the publicist saying, don't refer to the age. Don't refer to the age at all. Don't refer to the age. And I was like, so wasn't that movie great? You went to Donald Glover. I was able to switch it. It was live. I was able to actually, I was forced to like go with it, and I can do that. If I don't record it, it may be a little different. So actually, I'm much better recorded now. But I was like, but at first it was a little weird for me to switch because I guess live and straight, 3, 2, 1, James, go. I'm like, I'm used to it.
Well, that's as you've seen on some of the shows, the technical issues that I've had to, and sadly, there are young people, and then there are, just the older generation of actors who are everyone's in a different level of technically challenged these days.
Yes.
And sometimes the sound, my goal is not to have sound issues, but, when you're live, not, look at everything that's airing right now on the internet. Everybody's having problems here and there, nobody wants them, but it's the nature of, and we're all on the internet at the same time when we're not normally.
Yeah, we are. I have quarantine hair. I normally have a shaved head. This is 2 months. I usually have a shaved head, so I got a little fro. You've seen that on television. You look good. You look good. But
my husband went like that.
I use your husband to do my hair because I'm afraid to do it myself. I'm afraid. But you look great. But I feel like it's an even playing field right now, whether it's The View or whether it's us. Like everybody's having the same thing. So in a way, it's kind of okay when a glitch happens here and there. Before we want everything, you know how this works. We want everything perfect. Now it's kind of like, well, it happens. We can't really fix it because we can't be together. So it's like we can't be in a studio. So it seems like it's an even playing field these days.
I mean, you'll watch The View, and one of the ladies is missing because just before they went live on the air, there was some technical issue at her house or something.
Yeah. I'll ask you. In interviews, because I interviewed panels on people too. But for you, what is the most difficult thing that you try to remember when you're interviewing a group?
To remember to evenly, not forget somebody. That's the toughest, and I try to remember who spoke or who didn't finish or something like that. And it's been nice because I have heard from people I've interviewed that that I was able to balance, because it is balance that's I think the toughest thing is to balance. I mean, you'll find some people will be quieter and some people will keep talking.
Oh, that's true. But see, it's not on you though. It's like if some people are long-winded, they just are. Some folks talk slower and longer than others. Some just give one-word short answers. And that's not your fault. I mean, that part's that's not on you. But at least you call on them. And I do see you do bounce around and go, hey, you over there? You talk to them. So it's like that's always a trick for me too. It's like, how do you keep up with Eric? You got 7 people in here. Like, I make sure they all say something. And I just sit like for 15, 20 minutes. Like,
I have my Word document with, all the questions that I've written out just in case fans aren't asking. Okay. So I remember, and I can, I can easily scroll while we're talking, and hopefully people watching are not noticing that too much. But, otherwise, on talk shows, they have cards in their hands, so it's tough sometimes. I mean, it really, and thankfully we are doing it on the internet because, I've tried to keep them to an hour, not to bore people, but some of them have gone an hour and a half because I've had larger ones. When it is a smaller group, it is easier to keep it to an hour, which I think is better for the internet anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
People like to watch in small.
They do. I agree with you. I totally agree with you on that. Have you had any interview blunders?
Not. I mean, I don't think they faulted me horribly, but Jennifer Farron, I referred to her son's name incorrectly. I knew what it was. It was the right first letter. It was close. But I hate to not get it, especially with people who come on. But nothing, I think, too majorly. I mean, more the tech issues. When I first started, I would only ask that people show up about 5 minutes prior. I've now tried to make that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, let's do the technical early if we can.
Yeah. So how do you? So I'm sure you're explaining to him. Okay, make sure you try to have the best Wi-Fi you can. Find a spot where you can be seen. So sometimes I tell people it's like
try to have these for some people.
Yeah, for some people, yes. But my thing is always lighting. I'm like, we want to see you. We want to make sure you see who you are. So find a room that's good that you can actually kind of see yourself, or not wash you out, or have too much light in there. So I've always had to do that for a few people. Go, okay, well, maybe you want to switch the camera this way, like, or reverse yourself. They go, oh, it looks better. I'm like, thank you. Now we can see you. I want to spotlight.
Yeah, there've been some actors I've checked in with them a week in advance. They've called me up, let's, you know, show me how it works, and you know, that's the way to do it, you know.
So what is one thing for you that has surprised you most about doing this whole locker room since you've been doing it? What is one thing that's kind of surprised you?
You know, I think the response. I mean, the amount of views they're getting, the amount of I knew, you know, As the World Turns and Guiding Light were the shows that I grew up on and worked on for 13 years. I knew people would be missing them. You know, maybe I didn't fully understand how much, you know, and I think being locked down makes us all feel more intensely now too. So it's, you know, it's just been a very warm response to what we're both doing. I mean, and what everybody's doing. I mean, Stars in the House, those guys are great. You know, I've loved watching theirs. I watched yours. You know, we're all watching so many different things that we're looking for, I think, that distraction right now.
Yeah, no, I will say, you know, all the IG lives that are happening are amazing. The Broadway Cares that you guys did, amazing. I mean, like, there's a lot of people out there doing something. I think the thing is, people underestimate the soap community, I think, sometimes. You know, the soaps always get like this, you know, stepchild kind of, you know, they're treated like, whatever, you know, the bastard children of TV or whatever. But it's like the fans are intensely and immensely loyal and have long memories. They have long memories. And that's what I've learned in this whole process, is that people really are like, thank you for doing this. Like, really, thank you for showing us how so-and-so is doing. We haven't seen them in a long time, you know, or getting those two people back together. And I'm humbled by it in some way.
I completely agree. I mean, you know, Friday's show that I did with Don Hastings and Catherine Hayes.
I loved it. Oh my, I loved it.
You know, I knew, because I knew how I felt about them. You know, that was Friday. It already has 8,000 views, and today's Monday.
See?
You know, people, you know, Bob and Kim were kind of that center of the show for, you know, 50 and 38 years. That's a long time. I mean, you know, I grew up from a young age, and there's so many others who grew up longer than I watched, you know, so there is a deep connection. And also we as a fan of these characters in daytime, I'm sure with you watch, you know, Tom Pelphrey on Ozark and Julianne Moore and whatever she does, and so many actors that have gone on to larger outside of daytime is what I mean, really.
Platform.
You know, outside of daytime. They truly, you know, once you're a fan, I think you stick with them.
It's funny, because I'll say, like, I knew Tom Pelphrey was, you know, a star on Guiding Light. I mean, I'm not surprised he's gone to other shows in primetime and on cable. I'm not surprised. Like, I mean, he was on, and people were like, who is he? Where did he come from? Like, let me show you some scenes with Kim Zimmer back in the day. I can totally pull it up, and thank God to YouTube too. YouTube has everything on there. Some scary stuff too on there.
Hasn't that helped you immensely? I mean, that's how I found yours. You know what I mean? Like, it helps you find everything to prepare.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason not to be prepared with YouTube today. You should be embarrassed if you're not prepared in a lot of ways.
And some folks should be embarrassed. But let me ask you, do you think, StreamYard, Zoom, I do think even after, we'll say after this stuff dies down, do you think now there'll be major players in this kind of entertainment world? What do you think?
Repeat the question.
So like Zoom, StreamYard, IG Live, do you think after this is kind of done, I'll put in air quotes, done, will they still be big players in the entertainment world?
Oh, I do. I mean, I don't know when this will subside to a degree, but I do. I think Zoom is going to not kill, but lessen the amount of work travel people will be making in the future, because you're able to do this so seamlessly.
I think so. Why didn't I buy stock in Zoom before?
Totally.
How did I not know?
Are they even on the trading floor? I don't know. Are they?
I don't know. I always laugh about that.
They should be.
They should be. Because I'm like, why not? I mean, like I said, I've heard of Zoom, GoToMeeting, all these little things are like for the corporate world. I mean, I never really used them. I had a Zoom account when I used them, but it wasn't because AfterBuzz TV said we're going to do some shows by Zoom via home. But Zoom? Okay, I don't see what's going on. And then all my interviews have been on Zoom. I mean, and they've done some upgrades and they're doing all kinds of protection, so it's been really nice. But I'm just wondering afterwards, I have a feeling it's going to do something. And IG Live too. I mean, I do an IG Live show on there every night, and it's going to be another one. I think it's going to be another player in that, like Facebook watches. It's going to be another player in kind of series and stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting because I really did think of doing it on IG Live, but I don't know if as many people would have watched there as they do on YouTube. YouTube is a monster. I mean, so is Instagram, but YouTube is a monster of a platform.
It's the granddaddy. It's the granddaddy.
Yeah.
It is.
And you can find anything.
Yeah. No, most of my views are on YouTube. I mean, everything's YouTube. I mean, I have podcast form too, and and all that stuff. And those are great also. I mean, podcasts are good too, folks. I mean, they're doing really well too. But YouTube is kind of the big thing. That's the major place to go for video content, and it really is amazing. I mean, and the stuff stays up forever. And I'm getting comments on old interviews I've done like 4 or 5 years ago from soap stars. I'm like, oh, they're watching that again. I'm getting like, oh, okay. I mean, it's up there. I mean, it's there for everybody to watch forever. I got this one this morning. Someone said something. Actually, it was a mean comment, and I was like, now I've got a few of those, of course, being in the business. I was like, what's that from? Like, that's from my Michelle Stafford interview from 5 years ago. Okay, she's not even a General Hospital anymore. Okay, we moved on.
People will comment on social media for sure. I mean, the sound issues. Could you have done better? Yes, I would have loved to. I'm sorry. I don't want a sound issue. I don't want a picture problem.
Right.
But it's also the fans who, have inspired me to do more. I mean, I wasn't planning to do All My Children or One Life to Live. I think I'm going to do Young and the Restless and hopefully a Santa Barbara reunion.
Yes.
So.
Yes. I'm excited. Like I said, I'm excited. I tell people all the time, there's plenty of room to go around. I just want to ask you, just as I'm kind of ready, so I want to ask you, do you miss PR? Do you miss doing it?
Yeah, I mean, I was doing PR in my other job. I mean, but I did a lot because it was a small TV and movie tour company. So I did marketing, sales, operations. I was doing so much of it. But with talent, yeah, I miss talent. Yeah, I do miss that. And hopefully, maybe this will take me back.
Would that be fun if it did? That'd be very interesting. Mm-hmm. And now I'm back in the game.
I mean, you never know. You never know. I mean, it was, my idea was to make people smile, and it's just grown from there. So.
Well, you're doing it. You make me smile. So I love it.
Well, thanks.
I do.
I really appreciate that a lot.
I mean it. Tell the folks out there where they can find the Locker Room and everything online, on the interwebs.
On the interweb, the Locker Room, there's a channel on YouTube, and Locher is spelled like my last name, Locher, not Locker. Don't search that because you
or Locher or anything besides that. No.
Yeah. And also on Facebook, there's a Locker Room page there as well. We have a lot of great shows coming up too. So.
I know. What are some of the couple ones that are coming up?
Well, this week is All My Children with Vincent Irizarry, Jacob Young, and Walt Willey. And the rescheduled One Life to Live with Cassie and Jim DePaiva and Tuck Watkins and Hillary Bailey Smith and Robert S. Woods. And we are going to have another One Life on May 28th. We're going to have A World Turns on May 29th. Yeah, so we're going.
Love it. I love it.
And we have some really good Guiding Light ones coming up. I just announced the Shane family, Riva, Rusty, and Roxy.
Oh my goodness.
With Mindy Lewis and Michael O'Leary, Rick Bauer.
Yay.
And June 28th, I think it's a Saturday evening, with this pandemic going on, Guiding Light usually hosts their Daytime Stars and Strikes event that raises money for autism. Since we're not going to be able to do it in person, we're probably going to be doing a virtual Bauer barbecue.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. I love it.
So,
that's great. Congratulations. That's good. And I guess do my shameless self-promotion because it is my show.
Yeah, you should. Of course, always.
So my Catherine Kelly Lang interview is out already, and today my Vincent Irizarry interview is out right now. This came out today.
Oh, that's great.
Tomorrow,
he's great, isn't he?
Oh, he is.
He's
oh
great,
my!
Isn't he?
I know him from events. He's like, I see you at all the events, and I miss you. He's such a good. He gives good tea. He gives good tea, folks. And it's the interview is really good, and he's so humble about everything. And he's such a great actor. Just first of all, a great actor with a long history. I mean, a long history. So yes, I love him. So he's on.
He's played some daytime television's iconic characters.
Hello. From Lou Jack to David Hayward. He was on Santa Barbara. He's the bomb. He's the bomb. And then my Miranda Wilson interview is coming out tomorrow. She played Megan Hathaway Demira on Days in the '80s.
Oh wow!
It's great. We've been friends for years. She was in England. We had tea together online, and we did a great interview about Joe Mascolo and everybody back in the day, and my girl Christian Alfonso. So it's a great interview with her. Of course, my Wally Kurth interview is out right now. You can check that one out. And I'm interviewing Patricia Darbo, my buddy Sean Kanan, a couple of Ian Buchanan this week. So it's gonna be some great interviews with them too. So it's you and I are doing it. We're doing it.
You are. You're working hard. You're working hard.
Yeah, I am.
And it keeps you busy and it keeps people entertained. That's two great things.
Yes, and you too, of course. Everybody, this is Extra Connection special. I want to thank Alan Locher for being on my show. It was an honor for me to have him on the show. And make sure you follow Locher and follow what he's doing.
Thanks for having me.
It was my pleasure. And you can follow this show everywhere where everything streams on my YouTube channel, JLJ Media. And you can follow me where all James Lott Jrs are sold at James Lott Jr. and all social media platforms. And yeah, and follow me on TikTok too. I'm kind of a star on there, some weird thing. But I'm on there too. You can follow and see what I'm doing on TikTok. It's kind of crazy stuff. And everyone, please stay safe and sane during this time period.